Relax. Take a breath with me right now. Not the hurried breath of someone trying to get somewhere, but the sacred breath of a soul, remembering who it is. Feel the air enter your body without effort. You are not forcing it. You are not earning it. You are not striving for it. It simply comes. And in that simple, unnoticed miracle is a profound truth. The universe already knows how to sustain you. You have been taught to tighten your grip on life, to plan harder, to compete more fiercely, to defend your position, to prove your worth. But what if I told you that the very tension you carry is the only thing standing between you and the alignment you seek? What if the door to everything you desire opens not with force, but with surrender? The ego whispers, push. The soul whispers, allow. And the ego has been loud in your life, hasn't it? It tells you that you are your resume, that you are your bank account, that you are your past mistakes, that you must earn love, earn success, earn peace. It convinces you that life is a battlefield and that you must armor yourself against disappointment. It tells you that if you loosen your grip, everything will fall apart. But look at the ocean. The ocean does not strain to create waves. It does not compete with the shore. It does not argue with the wind. It allows. And in that allowing, there is power beyond comprehension. The ocean can carve stone. It can carry ships. It can reflect the moon. It does not do these things through tension. It does them through alignment with its nature. You are not a struggling fragment in a hostile universe. You are an individualized expression of the same intelligence that moves the tides and spins the galaxies. And that intelligence does not operate from panic. The sun does not rush to rise. The seed does not strain to become a tree. The sky does not cling to the clouds that pass through it. Why, then, do you cling so tightly to your fears, your plans, your need to control? Relax and watch the universe align for you. There is a deeper order at work in your life. Even when circumstances appear chaotic, the ego sees randomness. The soul sees orchestration. The ego sees delay. The soul sees divine timing. The ego screams, "Why is this happening to me?" The soul gently asks, "What is this here to teach me?" You have been conditioned to believe that control equals safety. But control is the ego's attempt to outsmart infinity. It is like a single wave trying to command the entire ocean. It is exhausting and it is unnecessary. When you relax, you are not giving up. You are giving over. You are shifting from force to faith. You are remembering that the same intelligence that beats your heart without instruction can also guide your life without strain. Think of an orange. When you squeeze it, what comes out? Orange juice. Why? Because that is what is inside. If anger comes out when life squeezes you, it is because anger is inside. If fear pours out, it is because fear has been stored within. But when peace flows out, when trust flows out, when love flows out under pressure, it is because you have chosen to fill yourself with something greater than ego. Relaxation is not laziness. It is alignment. It is the conscious decision to fill yourself with trust instead of tension. And trust is not passive. Trust is an active state of spiritual awareness. It says, I may not see the entire path, but I know I am guided. It says, I may not understand the delay, but I know nothing is ever late in the universe. It says, I am not separate from the source that created me. You have been chasing alignment as if it were something outside of you. But alignment is not a destination. It is a remembrance. It is the moment you stop arguing with reality. It is the instant you release the belief that life must look a certain way for you to be at peace. The sky does not resist the storm. It allows it to pass. And when the storm is gone, the sky remains untouched. You are the sky, not the storm. You are the awareness behind the thoughts, not the anxious voice within them. When you identify with the storm, you panic. When you remember you are the sky, you relax. The universe cannot align with a mind that is in constant resistance. Resistance is a declaration of distrust. It is saying, I know better than the intelligence that created worlds. And that belief keeps you locked in struggle. But when you say, I trust, something extraordinary happens. You shift your vibration. You move from contraction to expansion, and life responds to expansion. Everything is energy. Your thoughts are energy, your emotions are energy, your beliefs are energy. When you live in fear, you contract your energy, you shrink your field of possibilities. When you relax into trust, you expand. And in expansion, you become magnetically aligned with what is already seeking you. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are in energetic harmony with. And harmony cannot exist in a mind that is constantly bracing for disaster. Relax. Feel the tension leave your shoulders. Feel the urgency soften. The universe is not testing you. It is teaching you. It is guiding you. It is responding to the frequency you emit. If you walk into a dark room and curse the darkness, nothing changes. But if you light a candle, the darkness disappears instantly. You do not fight it. You illuminate it. Relaxation is lighting the candle of awareness in the room of your fear. So many of you are exhausted not because life is too hard, but because you are trying to carry it alone. You believe it is all up to you, that if you stop striving, everything will collapse. But let me ask you, who was beating your heart before you learned to worry? Who was orchestrating your growth before you formed an identity? There is an intelligence within you that has never been confused. When you relax, you allow that intelligence to lead. Imagine floating on your back in a calm lake. The more you thrash, the more you sink. But when you relax, the water holds you effortlessly. Life is the same. When you fight it, you feel like you are drowning. When you trust it, you realize you are supported. The ego fears relaxation because it fears irrelevance. If you trust the universe, what role does the ego play? Very little. And so it creates urgency, it manufactures problems, it invents enemies. It convinces you that if you do not worry, you do not care. But worrying is not caring. Worrying is rehearsing what you do not want. It is focusing creative energy on imagined disasters. Relaxation, on the other hand, is creative faith. It is the decision to expect alignment rather than chaos. Say quietly to yourself, I am not separate from the intelligence that created me. I am aligned with the flow of life. I am supported in ways I cannot yet see. Feel the shift as you speak those words. That is not imagination. That is alignment. You do not need to force opportunities. You need to become receptive to them. You do not need to chase love. You need to embody it. You do not need to control outcomes. You need to align with intention. Intention is not a desperate wish. It is a quiet knowing. It is planting a seed and trusting the soil. You do not dig it up every hour to check its progress. You water it. You give it light. And then you allow. What if the delays in your life are not denials, but divine rearrangements? What if what you thought was a setback was actually a protection? What if the closed doors were guiding you towards something more aligned with your soul? Relax and watch. You cannot see the entire tapestry of your life from where you stand. You see threads. The universe sees the whole design. When you insist that a single thread must look a certain way, you miss the beauty of the greater pattern. There are no accidents. There are no wasted experiences. There are only lessons guiding you back to your true nature. Your true nature is not anxious. It is not frantic. It is not lacking. Your true nature is abundant awareness. It is infinite possibility. It is the quiet certainty that you are part of something vast and benevolent. When you relax, you return to that nature. And from that place, miracles are not rare events. They are natural consequences of alignment. A miracle is simply a shift in perception from fear to love. When you shift your perception, the world reorganizes around you. This does not mean challenges disappear. It means your relationship to them transforms. You stop asking, how do I control this? And begin asking, how is this serving my evolution? You stop clinging to outcomes and start living in presence. Presence is where alignment lives, not in yesterday, not in tomorrow, but here, now, in this breath. Right now, in this moment, nothing is missing. In this moment, you are alive. In this moment, you are connected to the same field of intelligence that sustains all life. In this moment, there is no problem, only awareness. And from awareness comes clarity. Clarity does not arise from panic, it arises from stillness. When the surface of a lake is disturbed, you cannot see your reflection. But when it becomes still, everything is clear. Your mind is that lake. Relaxation is the stillness that reveals truth. You have been taught to believe that you must chase the universe, but the truth is, the universe is responding to you. It is aligning according to your inner state. When you shift from fear to trust, from scarcity to abundance, from resistance to allowance, life shifts with you. Not because you are controlling it, but because you are harmonizing with it. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are a participant in creation. Every thought is a brushstroke. Every belief is a color. Every intention shapes the canvas of your experience. If you want the painting to change, do not attack the canvas. Change the brush. Relaxation is choosing a different brush. The ego says, I will believe it when I see it. The soul says, I will see it when I believe it. Which voice will you follow? You have tried striving. You have tried forcing. You have tried proving. How has that felt? Perhaps it is time to try something radically different. Perhaps it is time to relax, to soften your jaw, to unclench your hands, to release the story that you must fight for every blessing, to trust that what is meant for you cannot miss you. The universe does not require your tension to function. It requires your alignment. And alignment begins with a single decision. I choose trust over fear. From that decision, everything changes. Doors open that you did not knock on. Conversations happen that you did not orchestrate. Insights arise that you did not plan. This is not coincidence, it is coherence. When your inner world becomes coherent, your outer world reflects it. Relax and watch the universe align for you. Not because you demanded it, not because you manipulated it, but because you remembered who you are. You are not a powerless being trying to survive a chaotic world. You are a divine expression of infinite intelligence, learning to trust itself in human form. And when you relax into that truth, life stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like a dance. Let it dance with you. Let it surprise you. Let it support you. You do not have to hold the world together. You only have to hold your awareness in love. Everything else is taken care of. And as you begin to loosen the grip of urgency, something subtle yet extraordinary begins to unfold within you. There is a spaciousness that emerges, a quiet inner horizon that was always there, hidden behind the noise of striving. In that spaciousness, you discover that life is not pressing against you, it is moving through you. You start to sense that you are not a separate fragment trying to earn your place in existence. You are existence, expressing itself as you. The tree does not question whether it deserves to grow. The river does not doubt its right to flow. The stars do not apologize for shining. Why, then, have you been taught to question your worthiness to expand? The answer lies in the illusion of separation, the belief that you are disconnected from the source of all things. That belief creates the restless need to prove, to compete, to compare. But comparison is the language of the ego, and the ego survives on measurement. It asks, am I ahead? Am I behind? Am I enough? The soul asks a different question, am I aligned? Alignment has nothing to do with outperforming anyone. It has nothing to do with accumulating symbols of approval. It is an inward calibration, a return to harmony with your original nature. And that original nature is whole. You were born whole, before the world handed you labels, before expectations were placed upon your shoulders, before you internalized the idea that love must be earned. You arrived here complete, carrying within you a spark of infinite intelligence. When you relax deeply enough, you begin to remember that wholeness, not as a concept, but as a felt experience. It feels like coming home after a long journey. It feels like exhaling after holding your breath for years. It feels like setting down a weight you forgot you were carrying. In that remembrance, fear begins to dissolve, not because you have conquered it, but because you no longer identify with it. Fear belongs to the conditioned self, the story of who you think you are. But the awareness behind the story remains untouched. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast sky at dusk. The clouds may be thick, heavy with storm, yet the sky itself is unaffected. The sky does not resist the darkness. It simply allows the clouds to pass. And eventually, they always do. You are that vastness. Thoughts of doubt may arise. Emotions of uncertainty may ripple through you. Circumstances may appear unpredictable, but the consciousness observing all of it remains steady. When you shift your identity from the passing clouds to the infinite sky, your relationship to life transforms. You no longer panic when the wind picks up. You no longer attach your identity to temporary conditions. You begin to move with the rhythm of change rather than bracing against it. And this is where alignment deepens. Because when you stop arguing with what is, you free up immense creative energy. Resistance drains you. Acceptance restores you. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It means acknowledging the present moment as the doorway to growth. Every moment carries a hidden invitation, an invitation to expand your awareness, an invitation to choose love instead of fear, an invitation to trust the unseen architecture that is arranging experiences for your evolution. There is a silent intelligence guiding you, an intuitive current that speaks in whispers rather than commands. It does not shout over the noise of anxiety. It waits for your stillness. It waits for your willingness to listen, and when you become quiet enough, you hear it. It may speak as a gentle nudge toward a new direction. It may appear as an unexpected opportunity. It may arrive as a realization that changes your perspective entirely. It does not force, it invites. Your task is not to control the path. Your task is to remain receptive. Receptivity requires softness. It requires humility. It requires the courage to admit that you do not have to figure everything out in advance. The mind craves certainty, but the soul thrives in trust. There is a profound freedom in not knowing exactly how things will unfold. It allows mystery back into your life, and mystery is sacred. Mystery reminds you that existence is vast, intelligent, and far more creative than your limited expectations. When you release the need for constant predictability, you open yourself to possibilities beyond imagination. Life begins to surprise you in beautiful ways. Synchronicities appear, encounters feel meaningful, timing feels intentional. This is not superstition, it is resonance. As you elevate your inner state, you harmonize with experiences that match that elevation. When your inner dialogue becomes compassionate, the world reflects compassion. When your inner narrative shifts from scarcity to abundance, opportunities arise in unexpected forms. It is not magic in the theatrical sense. It is alignment in the energetic sense. Everything in existence vibrates. Every thought you entertain carries a frequency. When you dwell in doubt, you tune yourself to experiences that echo doubt. When you dwell in gratitude, you tune yourself to experiences that echo gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful states of alignment available to you. It shifts your focus from what appears missing to what is already present. And in that shift, you move from contraction into expansion. Expansion is your natural state. The universe itself is expanding. Creation is an ongoing process. You are part of that expansion. When you cling to old identities, old grievances, old limitations, you resist the natural movement of life. But when you allow yourself to grow beyond who you were yesterday, you participate consciously in creation. Let yourself evolve. Release the outdated narratives that no longer serve your becoming. The story of failure, the story of unworthiness, the story of I can't. These stories are habits of thought, not truths of being. You are not bound by yesterday's conclusions. You are not obligated to remain the version of yourself that survived past challenges. You are free to become something greater. That freedom may feel unfamiliar at first. The ego prefers familiarity, even if it is painful. But your soul longs for expansion, even if it requires courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to move beyond it. And you do not summon courage through force. You summon it through alignment. When you trust that life is unfolding for your growth, stepping forward becomes natural. Each step does not need to be dramatic. Sometimes alignment reveals itself in the smallest adjustments, choosing patience over irritation, choosing forgiveness over resentment, choosing presence over distraction. These small choices accumulate. They reshape your inner landscape. And as your inner landscape transforms, your outer reality begins to reorganize around it. You begin to notice that situations which once triggered anxiety no longer hold the same power. You respond rather than react. You observe rather than absorb. You create space between stimulus and response. And in that space, wisdom resides. Wisdom is not acquired from books alone. It is cultivated through awareness. It grows each time you choose consciousness over conditioning. The more you practice this awareness, the more stable your inner world becomes. And stability does not mean rigidity, it means rootedness. Like a tree whose roots run deep, you may sway in the wind, but you do not break. Root yourself in trust. Root yourself in the understanding that you are supported by an intelligence far greater than your individual mind. When challenges arise, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What part of me is being invited to grow?" Growth may not always feel comfortable. Expansion stretches your edges. But discomfort is not a sign of misalignment. It is often a sign of transformation. Think of a caterpillar dissolving within the cocoon. From the outside, it appears confined. From the inside, it is becoming something entirely new. The dissolution is necessary for flight. There may be seasons in your life when everything feels uncertain. Old structures fall away. Familiar roles dissolve. It can feel disorienting. But these are often the moments when alignment is quietly rearranging your trajectory. Do not fear the cocoon. Within that stillness, new wings are forming. When you relax into these transitional spaces, instead of resisting them, you move through them with grace. You recognize that identity is fluid. You are not confined to one version of yourself. You are a dynamic expression of evolving consciousness. And as your consciousness expands, your capacity for compassion expands with it. Compassion begins within. It is impossible to extend genuine understanding to others if you are harsh with yourself. When you release self-judgment, you create room for healing. You realize that every mistake was a lesson. Every detour was a redirection. Every challenge was refining you. There is no wasted experience in a life lived consciously. Even your pain has served you. It has softened you. It has awakened you. It has deepened your empathy. When you view your past through the lens of growth rather than regret, you free yourself from its weight. Forgiveness becomes natural, not because others necessarily deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. Holding resentment ties your energy to the past. Releasing it restores your vitality. You do not forgive to condone behavior. You forgive to liberate your spirit. In that liberation, your energy becomes available for creation rather than defense. You begin to build from inspiration instead of reacting from old wounds. And inspiration is the language of alignment. Inspiration feels light. It feels expansive. It feels aligned with your highest intention. It does not push, it pulls. It does not demand, it invites. When you follow inspiration, you are guided by the deeper current of life. You begin to sense that you are co-creating with something greater than your individual will. And in that co-creation, there is profound joy. Joy does not depend on perfect circumstances. It arises from connection to the present moment, connection to your inner truth, connection to the intelligence that animates you. You do not have to wait for success to feel joy. You do not have to achieve a certain status to feel peace. These states are available now as inner choices. Choose them. Choose to rest in the awareness that you are already supported. Choose to stand in the truth that you are guided. Choose to move through life with a heart open rather than guarded. Relax, not as an escape from responsibility, but as an embrace of divine orchestration. The more you trust, the more evidence of trustworthiness appears. The more you embody love, the more love reflects back to you. The more you align with abundance internally, the more abundance manifests externally. This is not about manipulation. It is about congruence. When your inner beliefs and outer actions harmonize with your highest truth, life flows. And you begin to realize that alignment was never something to achieve. It was something to allow. So soften into this moment again. Feel the ground beneath you. Feel the breath within you. Feel the quiet intelligence that has never left you. You are not navigating life alone. You are life, awakening to itself. And as you continue to relax into that realization, you will witness a quiet miracle unfolding, not in dramatic spectacle, but in subtle synchronicities, in unexpected blessings, in the gentle assurance that everything is moving exactly as it needs to. Trust the unfolding. Trust the unseen architecture. Trust the infinite wisdom that flows through you as naturally as breath. And watch, with a calm and open heart, as the universe continues to align in ways more beautiful than you could have ever forced.
There is a stillness behind every breath you take, a place untouched by fear, unsullied by judgment, unbroken by time. It is the space of your being, eternal and present. And in that space, the great miracle of transformation begins not through striving, not through control, not through the clenched fists of resistance, but through the open hands of acceptance. Acceptance is not surrender, it is not apathy, it is not weakness. It is the courageous, soul-deep acknowledgement that this moment as it is enough. Not because it conforms to your expectations, not because it gives you everything you think you need, but because it simply is. And in its isness, it is sacred. Transformation begins the moment you stop arguing with reality. The moment you cease demanding that life should have gone another way. The moment you unclench from the past, loosen your grip on your imagined future, and soften into the now. This is not passivity, this is power. The power of presence, the power of trust, the power of alignment with a deeper wisdom that transcends your intellect. Most people believe change begins when the outside world shifts, when the job is found, when the partner returns, when the pain finally disappears. But the truth, the deep and liberating truth, is that change begins inside. It begins when you turn toward your life not to fix it, not to escape it, but to be with it. To embrace what is, so that what is no longer needed can fall away. There is an old story you've been telling, a story of what should have happened, of what you've lost, of what they did, a story of shame or blame or regret. You carry it like a backpack of bricks, hoping it will finally bring justice or clarity or control. But the story is not your salvation. The story is your chain. And acceptance is the key that unlocks the door. To accept is not to approve. To accept is to see clearly, to stand still in the presence of what is, without flinching, without running, without denial. There's a kind of sacred vision that comes only when the ego quiets its complaints, when the heart stops closing doors, and when the soul is given the microphone. Acceptance is the posture of the soul. When you accept your past, it cannot haunt you. When you accept your emotions, they cannot drown you. When you accept yourself, your light, your darkness, your flaws, your beauty, you stop waiting to become someone else, and you finally arrive as yourself. This world does not need more perfected personas. It does not need more masks or performances. It needs realness. It needs presence. It needs the radiant authenticity that pours from someone who has looked at every broken part of themselves and said, yes, even this, I will not turn away. The pain you resist becomes your prison. The moment you say, this should not be, you cast yourself into inner war. But the moment you say, this is what is, you return to peace. From that peace, true change can resonate as a frantic sprint, away from what you hate, but as a gentle, guided unfolding toward who you really are. The caterpillar does not become a butterfly by force. It does not rip its own skin off in rebellion. It goes still. It surrenders. It cocoons into darkness and accepts the disintegration of all it has known. Only then can the wings form. Only then can the transformation take flight. You too must be willing to enter that sacred cocoon, to stop trying to be elsewhere, to stop judging your sadness, your anger, your confusion. These are not signs of failure. They are invitations to feel, to heal, to listen, to love. The ego will fight this. It wants movement. It wants drama. It wants victory through struggle. But the soul speaks a quieter language. It whispers in stillness. It heals through presence. And it transforms through acceptance. You have not been broken by your past. You have been shaped by it, tempered, refined, initiated. The fire did not destroy you, it revealed you. The rain did not drown, you washed away what you were never meant to carry. And the darkness was not a punishment, it was a womb, a place of becoming. Acceptance is how you make peace with the womb. It is how you sit inside the mystery and say, I don't need to understand this to trust it. The oak tree does not understand the storm, but it does not resist it. It bends, it roots, it waits, and when the winds come, it is stronger, deeper, wiser. You have carried expectations like shields, assumptions like swords, but these weapons do not protect you. They separate you from others, from peace, from your own divine nature. Lay them down. Let the story of who you thought you had to be dissolved. Return to your original self, the one who needed no reason to be worthy, the one who knew how to dance in the rain, the one who loved without a why. You are not here to control the river. You are here to learn how to float, how to feel the current beneath you and trust it is carrying you exactly where you need to go. Resistance is exhaustion. Acceptance is grace. And grace is not something you earn, it is something you allow, something you receive when you stop trying to deserve it. Grace enters when your hands are open, not clenched. It enters when your heart is soft, not armored. It enters through the door of acceptance. That door has always been waiting for you to step out of the courtroom of your mind and into the sanctuary of your spirit, waiting for you to stop defending and start discovering, waiting for you to see that there is nothing wrong with you only thoughts that told you there was. Even the pain, even the failure, even the lonely, none of it was wrong. All of it was part of your becoming, part of your sacred curriculum. And when you accept that, the pain becomes wisdom, the failure becomes freedom, and the loneliness becomes a gateway to the divine. Keep breathing, keep softening, keep letting go of the need for life to be other than it is. What if everything you've been trying to fix is already perfect in its unfolding? What if the healing isn't something you achieve, but something you stop resisting? You are not a problem to be solved. You are a soul to be felt. You are a mystery to be lived. You are a wave of divine intelligence moving through a temporary form, and every experience is a note in the song of your awakening. And the song doesn't need to be rewritten, it only needs to be heard. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not even the name you answer to. You are the witness behind it all. The presence that observes, that breathes, that remains. And in that witnessing, in that sacred noticing, you begin to awaken. You begin to realize that nothing outside of you has the authority to define your worth. Only your own awareness can do that. And awareness, when paired with acceptance, becomes liberation. How long will you wait for permission to be at peace? How many years will you spend negotiating with the past, bargaining with the future, trying to twist yourself into some idea of enough? What if you paused right now and said, this is enough, I am enough, and I no longer need to be at war with life? There is such relief in no longer needing to fight. Not because you've given up, but because you've risen up. Risen into a higher truth, where peace is not earned through struggle, but remembered through surrender. In this remembering, your entire life becomes softer. It becomes more honest. You stop chasing illusions and you begin to live. The soul does not speak in demands. It speaks in invitations. And every moment is an invitation to return to your breath, to your body, to your truth. To return to the quiet space beneath the noise, where life simply is. No judgments, no stories, just now, just presence, just being. Most people live in a cage built by their own minds. The bars are made of expectations, and the lock is resistance. But the key has always been in your hands. It's called acceptance. And when you use it, the cage disappears not because the world changed, but because your vision did. Imagine the peace that arises when you no longer need to control how others see you. Imagine the freedom when you stop trying to rewrite the past. Imagine the love you can offer yourself when you stop demanding that you be any different than you are. This is not complacency. It is awakening. The seed does not judge itself for not yet being a tree. It simply allows the rain, welcomes the sun, and trusts the unfolding. So must you. You were never meant to be anyone else. Your pain, your past, your peculiarities, they are not deviations from your path. They are your path. They are the exact conditions necessary for your soul to flower. Stop wishing they were different. Start listening to what they are here to teach. Acceptance is not the end of transformation. It is the beginning. When you finally stop trying to escape the moment becomes your teacher. When you stop resisting what is, you begin to receive what is. And that receiving is where healing begins. You may believe that you'll accept life once it gets better, but in truth, life gets better the moment you accept it. Because your suffering has never come from the moment itself. It has come from the thought that the moment should be something else. When you stop arguing with what is, your energy returns to you. And that energy can be used for love, for creativity, for connection, for truth. Resistance drains, acceptance replenishes. In the presence of acceptance, fear dissolves, because fear feeds on control. But when you accept that you do not need to control, fear loses its grip. And in that loosening, a deeper trust is born not in the mind, but in life itself. You begin to see that everything that has ever happened was not in the way, but on the way. Every detour, every heartbreak, every delay it was all divine choreography. You may not have chosen the pain, but the pain chose you for a reason. Not to punish, but to purify. Not to destroy, but to awaken. And when you accept that, you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And you begin to ask, what is this here to reveal in me? That shift changes everything. It shifts you from victim to vessel, from resentment to reverence, from anxiety to awe. The truth is, nothing needs to change for you to be free. Freedom is not a future destination. It is a present realization. It is a choice to see what is without resistance, without judgment, without running away. And when you truly see it, you begin to love it. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real, because it's yours, because it brought you here. And here this sacred, raw, imperfect here is where the divine lives. Stop waiting for the perfect moment to begin living. This is the moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this rising and falling of the chest. The divine is not elsewhere. It is right here. In the messy, the mundane, the misunderstood, this is where your transformation begins. It begins when you soften instead of harden, when you stay instead of flee, when you say yes to what is, even when it breaks your heart, especially when it breaks your heart. Because the heart must break open for the soul to shine through. And oh, how it shines. Not through the perfect mask of a polished life, but through the cracks, the flaws, the places where the light got in. Your scars are not your shame. They are your sanctuaries. Places where you were cracked open and still chose love. You are not here to prove anything. You are here to remember everything, to remember that you are whole, that you are held, that you are a wave of divine light temporarily having a human experience. And acceptance is how you remember. When you stop trying to be someone else, you come home to who you already are. And that home is not a place of perfection, it is a place of peace. A place where you can rest, where you can breathe, where you can finally lay down the burden of becoming and rise into the grace of being. This is the real miracle. Not that you changed life, but that you changed your relationship with life. That you chose to see with new eyes, to listen with an open heart, to walk not in fear, but in faith. And this faith is not blind, it is intimate. It is rooted in a knowing that cannot be explained, only felt. A knowing that whispers, even this is part of it. Even this has a place. Even this can be holy. The rain has never apologized for falling. The ocean does not regret its waves. The mountain does not wish to be smaller, and neither should you. Accept yourself as nature accepts itself unapologetically, unconditionally, unreservedly, because only when you accept yourself can you truly love yourself. And only when you love yourself can you truly love others. All transformation begins here, not out there, not later, but here. In the quiet revolution of accepting this moment, this breath, this you. So breathe, return, and open the door. Not the door of striving or proving, but the door of surrender. The door of yes. The door that has been waiting for you all along. And when you walk through that door, you do not find escape. You find arrival. You do not find perfection. You find peace. You do not find answers. You find acceptance. And that is the beginning of everything. Let this be your sacred turning point, not in outer form, but in inner knowing. Let this be the moment you say to yourself, with all the tenderness in the world, I will no longer resist this life. I will no longer push against this moment. I will accept myself. I will accept this path. I will accept the presence of the divine in all things. And as you do, the door swings open, the light floods in, the burdens drop away, and transformation no longer feels like effort. It feels like truth. It feels like peace. It feels like home. But don't just accept what feels easy. Accept even what you do not understand. Accept the mess. Accept the noise. Accept the days when the answers do not come. Because those are the days your spirit is doing its deepest work. The soil does not resist the seed just because it does not yet bloom. It holds it. It keeps it safe. And so must you hold your process without judgment, without haste, without shame. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not broken or lost. You are exactly where you are meant to be, not as a punishment, not as a failure, but as a sacred pause, a necessary inhale before the next unfolding. Stop measuring your growth with someone else's ruler. Your journey is too sacred for comparison. There is a wisdom in the silence. There is healing in the slowness, but only if you can accept it. If you can sit with the discomfort and allow it to soften you. Let life knead you like clay, molding you not into perfection, but into presence. And presence is where love lives. Can you love yourself when you're not performing? Can you honor your soul when you're not being praised? Can you sit in your solitude and still feel divine? Because that's what it means to accept yourself. Not when you're polished, not when you're accomplished, but now. In the sweat, in the uncertainty, in the imperfection. This is what real healing looks like, not the erasing of scars, but the honoring of them. Not pretending you were never wounded, but bowing to the strength it took to survive. You are not here to hide your story. You are here to illuminate it, not as a tale of victimhood, but as a testimony of rising. So let the pain be part of your poetry. Let the failures be folded into your freedom. Let the heartbreak become holy. There is no part of your experience that is not worthy of reverence. Nothing that needs to be exiled from the sacred space of your becoming. And if tears come, let them fall. Do not apologize for feeling. Do not harden just to be accepted. Because the truth is, your softness is your strength. Your emotions are not weaknesses. They are rivers that carve valleys of compassion into your soul. Let them flow. Let them teach. Let them reveal the truth you've hidden beneath the armor. You are safe now. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to defend. You don't have to explain your light to those committed to seeing you dim. Just be. Just breathe. Just stand in your sacred yes. Because when you stop chasing the life you think you should have, the life that was always meant for you can finally arrive. And when it does, you'll recognize it not by how perfect it looks, but by how peaceful it feels. That's how you'll know you're home. Not because everything outside is fixed, but because something inside is finally free. Free from resistance. Free from expectation. Free from the self-imposed pressure to constantly become in that freedom. You realize, I was never meant to strive my way into peace. I was only meant to remember that I am peace itself. This remembrance changes everything. It shifts your entire vibration. It reorients your path, not away from difficulty, but toward truth. Because truth doesn't always feel comfortable, but it always sets you free. And the deepest truth is this: you are enough. as you are, right now. Not one more achievement, not one more apology, not one more moment of proving is required. You were born worthy, and nothing this world can give or take can alter that. Acceptance is how you reclaim this truth, not by doing, but by allowing. Allow yourself to exhale. Allow yourself to soften. Allow yourself to be held not by another person, but by the infinite eternal presence that has carried you from the beginning. You are not separate from it. You are it. You are the presence you've been seeking. You are the divine disguised in human skin. And in this knowing, you stop running, you stop performing, you stop pushing away parts of yourself to be loved. You realize you don't need to be different to be whole. You need to be here to be real, to be open, to be willing to accept the pain that shaped you, the joy that sustained you, the unknown that continues to call you forward. Willing to accept that life is not a straight line, but a spiral staircase, and every return, every detour, every descent is part of the rising. Willing to accept that maybe the mountain you've been trying to climb is already within you. Maybe there's nowhere to go but deeper, deeper into stillness, deeper into self, deeper into this miraculous now. Because when you live from acceptance, you no longer live in delay. You no longer postpone your peace. You no longer wait for permission to love your life. You simply begin, right here, right now. And beginning doesn't mean changing everything. It means loving what already is. It means saying yes to the life that has said yes to you all along. So say yes. Say yes to your breath. Say yes to your history. Say yes to the places that still ache and the parts that have already healed. Say yes to the soul that longs to be felt and the love that lives just beneath your fear. Because when you say yes to all of it, transformation becomes inevitable. You cannot truly accept something and remain unchanged. Acceptance is the alchemy. The fire that doesn't burn you but reveals the gold beneath the soot. And the gold is this: you are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become because of it. You are not the pain. You are the awareness holding the pain. And that awareness, your eternal self, is untouchable, indestructible, and already whole. In this space, there is nothing left to fix, only more to feel, more to welcome, more to remember. You remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You remember the you that danced in the rain, that trusted the wind, that didn't question your worth, because worth wasn't something you earned, it was something you were. And so you return, not as a stranger, not as a project, but as a soul who remembers. You return to life, not as a battleground, not as a test, but as a temple, a holy invitation to presence, to wonder, to joy. You return to yourself, not as a critic, not as a warrior, but as a lover, a gentle witness, a compassionate guide. And from that place of inner union, where all parts of you are seen, heard, and loved, life begins to flow again. Not perfectly, not predictably, but freely. You no longer need to push. You no longer need to prove. You simply walk in the direction of truth. With each step, the path reveals itself. With each breath, the burden lifts. With each moment of acceptance, transformation deepens. And at last, you understand the door was never locked. It was only waiting for you to stop resisting. And now that you have, you are free. So here you are now, not broken, but blooming. Not lost, but found in the stillness. Not waiting, but awakening. And all of it began, not with a battle, not with a breakthrough, but with a breath, with the simplest, most radical act of all acceptance. You didn't have to travel the world. You didn't have to become someone else. You only had to say yes. Yes to this moment, yes to this self, yes to the mystery of your becoming. And in that, yes, the struggle faded, the illusion dissolved, the noise quieted, and what remained was peace. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You stopped demanding that life be different. You stopped needing to outrun your past. You stopped fearing the shadows in you. And you looked at it all and said, even this is worthy. Even this is sacred. Even this belongs. And with those words, you came home. So walk forward now, not hurried, not hardened, but whole. Let your steps be soft, your heart be open, your eyes see the divine in all things. And let every breath you take be a gentle reminder. You were never meant to resist your life. You were meant to live it, to feel it, to embrace it, to accept it. And in that sacred acceptance, to be transformed, you are already free. You are already whole. You are already home. And everything begins from here.